A very warm welcome in the class of Mathematics 3 MCSE 301. In this module of recurrence relation, we are going to start our first class on counting techniques. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. So, why we learn counting? So how many fingers are there in your hand? In your right hand? 5 fingers? Okay. So how many fingers are there in your left hand? 5 fingers. So in general, if we are assuming that we are having 5 fingers in our hands and legs, then how many fingers cumulatively you have? 20 fingers. So I think you are not counting it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. Instead of that, you are using your common sense, your common logical sense, that you most probably are multiplying 5 into 4 to get 20. But when you are thinking about initial 5, at that time you are counting by addition 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 5. So from the very childhood days, when you started thinking, rather expressing logically something, you have started counting from that moment. Maybe you are not able to express your views at that time, at that age, but your brain, you have started that thing. So instead of asking the question why we learn counting, we must ask the question that why we will not learn counting. Rather, we must learn counting because it is a very important aspect of our learning life. So counting techniques are the very basis of being able to find the different probabilities of events in any kind of situation. And parallelly, you can think about that this is not only counting 1 to 1, but this is collectively counting all possible ways of a given instance. Likewise, you can think about that counting all 4-digit numbers whose digits are different among one another. That means you are creating one block and you are thinking about that there are 4 blocks and you are constructing 4-digit numbers. So what will be here, or what are the possibilities here, what are the possibilities here, here and here, so that you can construct a 4-digit number, obviously having some conditions over there that the digits are different among one another. So most probably you are able to identify that this is not going to be considered. You are able to identify that this is not going to be considered, and you are able to identify that this is going to be considered. But in this way you can't complete your counting until and unless you are thinking about any logical expression. That means we are searching for patterns, and which we call here that rules of counting. So let us have some improvisation on this counting procedure or counting techniques. So there is a story. I have taken this story where the thing is referred in the reference section. So there was a very proud and arrogant student of a teacher who used to bully other students. So teacher gave him a task. My students are not like that, I know, but let us take it the problem from this, that to find the number of squares in a chessboard. So all of you are aware about the chessboard. So the problem is to find out the number of squares in this. So let us try it. So this is one, this is another, this is another, this is another. So in this way, if we proceed, then I will see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares are there. In this way, 8 squares are there. Similarly, there are 8 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 number of 8 squares are there. But if we stop here our thinking, we are making most probably some mistake, because I think you can identify that there is another square. So in this way, you have a square over here, you have another square over here, and so on. So you have to count them. But look at this, there is another square. And similarly, you are going to get another square over here. So if you take 2 along with, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. Similarly, this is for here, and look at this. Similarly, this is true for them also. So look at this, when we are talking about only 2 cross 2 sides, it is also very much difficult for us to complete the thing. And I think it is very much clear to you that there is another square. And it is also very much clear to you that there is another square. Now we are in big trouble if we want to count it in our manual procedure, how we are counting it for the previous cases. So how counting techniques helps us? So let us go for the solution. Keep this chessboard in your mind. So there is the continuation of this story that everyone guesses the students failed, but the student has taken one book of recurrence relation. You are thinking about, sir, this is the recurrence relation, the module, but don't insert your mind into this. Before that, think about this, that how the student started respecting everyone, because he has started doing the calculation in this pattern, that if there is no squares, that means it is a 0 cross 0 board, then there is a total of 0 squares because there is no square. And if there is only one square, then that is 1 cross 1 board, it is 1 square. Now if that is something like this, then how many squares you are getting? 1, 2, 3, 4, but it is itself a square, so there are total number of 5 squares. In this way, the pattern for 3 is also calculated, and then some very important terms, that deductive thinking and inductive thinking. Here you need inductive thinking for getting the solution of this particular problem, that how you are inducing yourself by your logics to get to the conclusion. You are not establishing any conclusion, you are rather trying to find out some conclusion by the inductive thinking, and the sequence here becomes 0, 1, 5, 14, 30 and so on. So we have to reach for 8 cross 8 structure, and we get that for 1 we are getting 1, for 2 we are getting 4, 5, and for 3 we are getting 14. But the gaps corresponding, please try to identify that 0 to 1 the gap is 1, then 1 to 5 the gap is 4, then 5 to 14 the gap is 9, and then 14 to 30 the gap is 16 and so on. So are you not identifying the gaps between these consecutive things are following a pattern, and the pattern is nothing but n square. Once it is identified, then this relationship is established that an is equal to an plus 1, an minus 1 plus n square. So you put the value of n equal to 1, then you will get a1 is equal to a0 plus 1 square. So a0 is your 0, because you are not able to draw any squares for this, and then 0 plus 1 you are getting 1. And then when you are thinking about a2, then it is a1 plus 2 square, that is 1 plus 4, that is 5, and a3 is equal to a2 plus 3 square, that is 9 plus 5, so it is 14, and so on. So in this pattern you can go up to a4, a5, a6, a7, a8, and your job will be done. So this is the beauty of counting techniques, and obviously I should say this is the beauty of counting techniques in a logical manner. Now how we can follow or how we can maintain this, for this we require some concepts as well as some basic standard terms which are very much applicable in the concept of counting technique. We will enter in those parts gradually. So fundamental counting principle, what we are getting, we are going to solve first one problem. The problem what was there in the very beginning or the inception of this particular discussion. So how many 4-digit numbers are there without having no single digit repeated in it? So let us start analyzing it. So we have from 0 to 9 10 digits, but how many of them will fit for the first digit? Obviously 0 will not fit, because if you start it by 0 it will not be a 4-digit number. So we have only available things are 9. So in the first position we have 9 availabilities, and what is about the second position? If we think about the second position, look at this, 0 now can be included. So there are 10 possibilities, but look at this, due to this no single digit repeated condition, the first position, the digit what we have kept, that digit is not allowed in the second position. So ultimately or effectively there are 9 possibilities, because we are not going to consider the digit which is already taken in the first position. Now we are coming for the third position, and for the third position the possibilities are 8, because already 2 from 10 are taken into considered in the first position and the second position, and obviously in the last there are 7 possibilities, because the logic is just giving us this particular sense. So finally, if we want to conclude that what is the total number of possibilities we have, this is the calculation of this one. First position is 9, for second position there are 9, for third position there are 8, and for the fourth position it is 7. So the answer is 4, 5, 3, 6. Now obviously if you have a question in your mind, that means you are in the right track, that if repetition is allowed, then what will be the possibility. So there is a very important clue that for every independent event, before doing any final conclusion, we have to count carefully the number of possibilities before multiplying them, because we have multiplied it. So if there are 4 positions and if we have repetitions allowed, so this is having 9 options, but this is having 10 options, this is having 10 options, this is also having 10 options. So now I think you can find out the number of possibilities what you are having if repetitions are allowed. Okay, so let us proceed. There is a question for you, that how many 3-letter combinations can you make with the following conditions? Repetition is allowed, for this do the problem, then not allowed, for do this problem. Then there is a condition that the first letter must be a vowel with no repetition of letters, and next no vowel in the first 2 letters, repetition is not allowed, and the last letter must be a vowel. So look at this, gradually the problem is having some constraints growing bigger and bigger. So you have to start doing from this one, and then you are just proceeding for the problem. Now we are considering one very basic counting principle. This is actually the initiation. Look at this. We are having one problem that there are 3 towns A, B and C, with 2 roads from A to B and 3 roads from B to C. So the question is that if I want to go from A to C, then how many possibilities I have. So 1, 2, 1, first position, second option, third option, fourth option, fifth option, sixth option. So as it is very small problem, just by counting we can go to the decision that there are 6 possibilities. But there must be some logical representation, because it can be like number of cities may be 100 and there are possibilities maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in this way. So it is not possible for us to count it. So let us have the discussion in the manner that we have two choices from route A to B. Whichever of these we choose, when we reach to B, there are 3 choices. So these 3 choices are not depending on these 2. So if we want to list them, we can list these 2 and we will get 2 into 3 number of possibilities. That is why when counting we are getting 6 possibilities. Now we have to try for the number of routes from A to C. If there are 3 roads from A to B, that means 1 road is increased, as well as we are getting 4 from B to C. That means from B to C you can have another road and it is having, suppose the fourth one, so 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I can write it 6 and then I can give it 7, seventh road or something like that. So look at this, you can do this calculation by the same logical manner. Now we are getting the concept of product rule. What we are actually discussing, from that discussion this concept came. Suppose that some procedure can be broken down into a sequence of 2 tasks like the previous problem. If there are n1 to execute the first task, that means A to B, and n2 ways to execute the second task, that is B to C, then there are n1 into n2 ways to perform the whole procedure, what is already realized by us. Now we can make it generalized that if there are k tasks and if there are n1 ways to execute the first task, n2 ways to execute the second task, and so on nk, then the total number of ways we can perform is that nothing but n1 into n2 up to nk. And it will be more clear with a very relevant example of PIN. So personal identification number, if it is having a sequence of 6 symbols chosen from the set of digits 0 to 9, then what is the number we can have? So look at this, we allow the symbols to repeat, yes, or we do not allow the symbols to repeat. Now we allow the symbols the repeat here because you have some pin like that 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4. So here repetition is also allowed, as well as initiation of the pin number is also allowed by 0. So we have to choose the first digit, second digit, third, fourth, fifth, sixth in this way, and there are 6 positions. So look at this, this first digit can be filled by how many ways? As we have 10 digits in my hand, so it can be 0, it can be 1, it can be 2, 3, 4, up to 9. So the possibilities is here is 10. But for the second position, as there is no restriction, it will be again 10 and so on up to 6 position. So what we get, that if we allow repetitions, then every step can be executed in the same number of ways, that is there are 10 possible digits. So what we get as the total number of possibilities, that pin what we are allowed to repeat symbols is 10 into 10 into 10 up to I is equal to 1 to 10, and then it is going to be 10 into 10 up to 6 times, because it is nothing but 6 boxes with having 10 possibilities. So 10 to the power 6 will be the answer. Now the question is, if we don't allow the repetitions, then what will be the case? So in this case you have to think for the just the last problem was discussed in the same manner. Next we are getting the sum rule. Look at this, this sum rule also very important. We have we are going to show you by some example, but before that the sum rule where it will be applicable you have to make it clear. Look at this here, this is the most important term. If a task can be done either in one of n1 ways or in one of n2 ways, it is either or condition. It is not that it is a sequential thing, that first job is broken into n1 conditions and second job is broken into n2 conditions in n2 ways in the like last one. It is either or condition. So where none of the sets n1 ways and same of them as any of the sets n2 ways, then there are n1 plus n2. Look at this, we are adding the possibilities, that is why it is termed as sum rule. So we can also make the generalization as follows in this pattern, that if we consider some finite set A that can be divided into union of k distinct and mutually disjoint subsets, that is a1 to ak, then this is done by the generalized sum rule. It will be more clear when we are going to find it out with some examples. So number of passwords with 5 or less symbols, 5 or less symbols, make it very clear that why we are using, or rather why we are thinking for sum rule for this problem. So we are considering the system where we can authenticate the password, and we are taking the letters as A to Z. That means how many letters? 26 letters. So we can make a password with length 1, because it is given that the passwords can be 5 or less than that symbol. So we can start it with by 1. So from A to Z, if we want to make password, then how many possibilities are there? 26. A or B or C or up to Z. If it is clear, now we are going for the second option when there are passwords with 2 blocks, and we can write A to Z over here, but it is not depending on this because we can also write A to Z over here. So the possibilities according to the product rule is 26 into 26, that is 26 square. In the same manner, for third it will be 26 cube, for the fourth it will be 26 to the power 4. In this way, for the fifth it is 26 to the power 5, and for the sixth it will be and up to this it is will be 26 to the power 5, and so on. Now the thing is that you have generated the number, that how many passwords are available with length 1, how many passwords are available with length 2, and so on. But we have to find out the total number of passwords. So total number of passwords will be the number of passwords with length 1 plus number of passwords with length 2 plus number of passwords with length 3 plus number of passwords with length 4 and plus number of passwords with length 5. And we know all the possibilities, so the answer will be 26 plus 26 square plus 26 cube plus 26 to the power 4 plus 26 to the power 5. This summation will give you the total number of possibilities of the passwords to be constructed by following this rule, and we get this with the application of sum rule. Now there is a rule called inclusion exclusion principle, or the subtraction rule, that it tells us that if a task can be done in either n1 ways or n2 ways, but then there are a number of ways to do the tasks in equal to n1 plus n2 minus number of ways to do the task that are common to the different ways. If there is something common, then while we are calculating the thing, we have to subtract that. And from set theoretic notification, if we are considering 2 sets, this will be the inclusion exclusion principle, and for 3 sets this will be the inclusion exclusion principle. Now moving forward, we are entering into the concept of permutation. Already these concepts are known to you if you have done it in your 11-12 properly. Still look at the concepts, because we have to make a little brush up on this, because not only in your course but also in campusing, in GATE and in some higher competitive examination, these concepts are very important. So what we are doing, the word permutation means arrangement, but we have to concentrate on this, that we use permutations when we are concerned about order, means order is here very important. So AB and BA are not same as orders are important here. So let us start with one example. So how many different four letter arrangement can we make of letters of the word cats using each letter once only? It is also very important. So we have four positions to fill, for which of those choices there are three letters left. So there are how many possibilities? Four. But as repetitions are not allowed, in this we have possibility 3, here it is 2, here it is 1. So we are getting the possibilities as 4 factorial, because we are multiplying them according to the product rule for this particular discussion, and we are getting that the total number of arrangements, possible arrangements, will be 24. Now we are entering into the combination, and combination is having a little different idea than permutation. Look at this, it is also a selection. That was the previous one was arrangement, it is of selection. But this is the most important line from my point of view, that when you are getting this particular process, you have to concentrate on order does not matter. Means if you are thinking about AB and if you are thinking about BA, they are here same. So what is going on, let us make it clear with the example, that the question is how many committees of 2 people can be chosen from this group of 4 people, so Jones, Chan, Velo and Harris. So there are 2 committee members to be chosen, so we have 2 places to fill. Now you can put Jones, you can put Chan over here, you can put Jones, you can put Velo over here, and so on. And you will see that there are 4 ways of choosing the first member and the 3 ways of choosing the second one. So the total number of possibilities are apparently here 12 ways. But if you concentrate on this, if you look at this Chan and Jones, are you getting this one, that Jones and Chan? But are they different according to the definition of combination, or according to the definition of real life example, that a committee is constituted by Chan and Jones? And if I am stating a committee is constituted by Jones and Chan, are this different statement? No. So we have to think for the original calculation that it is going to be divided by 2, because these 2 can be arranged by 2 factorial ways. So when we are thinking about this particular thing, that is 4p2, then we are getting 4 into 3 as 12. But when we are thinking about this combination, then we have to divide it by 2 factorial again, and we will get the answer as 6. So proceeding further, we are getting, this is the concise form of permutations definition, which tells us that a positive integer r is an integer such that r lies between 1 and n. Then there exists the permutation of n and r, which is by definition is starting from n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 dot dot n minus r plus 1. You can check the definition of this one, and if you simplify, you will get this one from factorial notation to just multiplication. And similarly, if you think about the definition of combination, then you will get that an R combination of elements of a set in an unordered selection of R elements from a set. Therefore, R combination is simply a subset of the set with R elements, and we are denoting it by CNR, where the notation, factorial notation of this one is n factorial divided by R factorial into n minus R factorial. And you can obviously identify that from this you can write it by NPR, and NPR you will get that this is divided by 2 R factorial, you will get CNR or NCR. Now we are moving forward into another very important, though everything is interlinked, still we are moving forward for another part of counting techniques, that is called binomial coefficients. So let us start the explanation of this one by expanding the things sequentially. So look at this, we are getting it x plus a whole to the power 0, it is 1, x plus a whole to the power, it is this, it is our basic formula and so on. Important thing is that to identify the properties, if you want to write the coefficients only, then you will get 1, then 1 1, then 1 to 1 and so on, and this creates a very beautiful triangle. If you think from this direction what you are getting, and if you think from this direction what you are getting are same. Not only that, if you are thinking about in this direction, then also you are getting a pattern over there. We are going to discuss this also. And not only that, you are thinking about a slashed deviation, so you can check this, it is also 1 3 1 2 3 4 5, what you are getting it over here. So you are getting a very beautiful symmetry for this, and it will continue if you just go on writing x plus a whole to the power 6, x plus a whole to the power 7 and so on. So let us check this diagram. Look at this, this is the structure of 1 1 1 1 1, and as for symmetry it is also something like that. This is the counting numbers, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and so on, and these are the triangular numbers. That means if you are getting 1 3 3 6 10 15 21, I am requesting all the listeners to keep this sequence in your mind, that is 1 3 6 10 15 21. You will get another discussion over here where you will get some relationship with these numbers. So let us proceed for that. So we are now again discussing another important part of this counting techniques. It is called pigeonhole principle. So let us have a story. So there are some pigeons and there are some pigeonholes, means where the pigeons are going to be kept. But the problem is, if you see only this particular diagram, you will get 9 boxes are there but 10 pigeons are there. So you must have at least one box where the number of pigeons are more than 1. So this very basic observation gives birth to this pigeonhole principle, that if k is a positive integer and k plus 1 or more objects are placed into k boxes, 10 pigeons into 9 boxes, then there at least one box containing 2 or more objects, then there exists at least one box containing 2 or more objects, and it is actually termed as Dirichlet's box principle. And this is merely a very simple statement, and it is really simple, but it is having a larger contribution, large impact on the concept of counting techniques. Look at this, there is a problem. We are trying to find out that how many students do you need in a school to guarantee that there are at least 2 students who have the same first 2 initials. So suppose there is someone whose name is Saurabh Ganguly. So initials are SG, and there is another one, suppose Rahul Dravid. So it is also having different initials, but we need that how many students are there in the school to guarantee that there are at least 2 students who have the same first 2 initials. So if we think about Sachin Tendulkar, then we are having S and S common over here, but we are thinking about something more close, that 2 initials are same both. So how this problem will be addressed? So in this position, You can put 26 alphabets because A to Z there are 26. Now for this A you have 26 options, for this B you have 26 options, and so on. For this Z you have 26 options. So there are 26 into 26 options where you are not getting any match. So if you want to get a match, at least one match guaranteed, the number of students must be greater than this, and as it is a discrete thing, that means it will be something n greater than 26 into 26 plus 1. So let us check. There are 26 into 26 different possible sets of two initials that can be obtained. So the number of students should be greater than that. So it is going to be 677, and this is the application, a very simple application of pigeonhole principle. Now we are moving forward for the another problem. This is called handshake problem, and the story related to handshake problem is actually given over here. So if we want to count basically that how many handshakes are going on, so let us start with the discussion that if there is one student, then there is no handshake because it is not possible. But if there are two students like this, then there is one handshake is possible. And look at this, I am handshaking with you and you are handshaking with me. It is not going to be considered as different handshake. So two students having handshake, that means the number of handshakes is one. But when the question is for three students, then how to visualize this one? So there is one handshake, there is one handshake, and there is one handshake. So for this three it will be three. So what will be the case for four? So if there are four students and the handshake is going on, there is one, there is one, there is one, there is one, but there is also one, as well as there is also one. So we are getting six handshakes. In this way you are trying to find out the number of handshakes what is going on. Now the question is it possible for you to continue for 30, or rather it is very much required to find out that what are the pattern it is following. So if you are thinking for the pattern, so we are getting for the first two there is a gap of 1, for the next two there is a gap of 2, for the next two there is a gap of 3. So the table is something like that. If we go for the total number of handshakes, that means for up to 25 students, it will be coming as 300, and there are four methods of doing this. First method is the trivial method, that we are counting it, but it is not going to work, it is not going to play any vital role in this particular process. But we can think about that we are doing the calculation like this, that for a first student A, he or she can make a handshake of 24 other students, but the second student when going to be considered, the handshaking of B with A is not going to be considered because it is already considered for the concept of A. We are going to consider B from C onwards. So the number of handshakes for it will be 23. In the same logic, it will be 24, 23, 22, 21 and so on. So the total summation you can get, it will be 300. And this is another process, that the process tells us that as it is a symmetry, AB, AC, AD, AE, in this way it is something like that. Then for B, the same thing what actually we are stating over here. There will be nothing, it will be starting from this. There will be nothing in these two position, it will be starting from this, and so on. You will get 300. Clear? Parallelly, you can think for this that one person can't do any handshake, but for two persons there is one handshake. So if you take one person with n number of persons present, then for the first one he can do n minus 1 number of handshakes. The second one he also can do n minus 1 number of handshakes. Third one also same as n minus 1 number of handshakes, though there are some common handshakes. So look at this, in this pattern we can think that it will be n into n minus 1 number of handshakes, but as we are doing this thing, repetitions are calculated, repetitions are considered in this, so ultimately it will be divided by 2. So you are going to get it is n into n minus 1 by 2 as the recorded one, and you can think for the number 2, so it will be 2 into 2 minus 1 by 2, it is that is 1. Then for 3 it will be 3 into 3 minus 1, that is 3, what we get in the last table. For 4 you will get 4 into 4 minus 1, that is 3, that is 12 by 2, that is 6, and so on. And all these numbers are nothing but triangular numbers, what you get in the structure of binomial coefficients. Now we are finally entering into another counting problem. This counting problem will also be solved in the consecutive classes when we are going to discuss the solution methodology. So our problem is that in how many ways can we fill a bag with n fruits subject to the following constraint. What is the constraint? The number of apples must be even. Very good. Then the number of bananas must be multiple of 5, that means 5, 10, 15 or 0, and there can be at most 4 oranges, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 full stop, and finally there can be at most 1 pear, that means either 0 or 1. So in this pattern, what is the possible ways that we can fill a bag? So we need to construct the generalized structure, but before that we are trying to find it out for this example, that there are 7 ways to form a bag with 6 fruits. How this 7 is coming? So apple can be taken 6 because it is even number, then obviously all the entries for the all other fruits will be 0 because we have the capacity of 6 fruits. Next, apple can't go for 5, apple can go for 4 as it is even, and we are considering we are not going to take any banana, we are taking only 2 oranges. Or we can take 4 apples, no banana, 1 orange, 1 pear, no banana because of banana can be taken as 0 or 5 or 10 in this way. So already we got 3 arrangements. Now we are moving for 2 apples and we are not able to give any banana because 5 plus 2 will be 7, we have capacity 6. So 2, then 0, then 4 and 0 we are getting 6, and then 2, 3, 1 we are also getting 2 more options. After that we are making apples 0 and we are putting bananas 5. So either we will take 1 orange or we will take 1 pear. So ultimately we are getting 3 plus 2 plus 2, that is 7 ways for filling it up. But in the context that if it is a question or rather it is a clue that how you are getting 7 from 6, you have to find it out, rather you have to justify yourself. After that you please wait for the consecutive classes, you will get the answer. So now our assignment section is coming. You please take these problems very sincerely. These are merely some very basic problems. You have to practice 1,000 problems on counting techniques, and no one can give the guarantee that the 1001 number problem you can solve, but the chance of solving that problem is very much higher than that of now. So these assignments you please try, and if there is any confusion you please communicate with me in my mail ID. So these are the references I have used to construct this lecture, and finally I want to thank you all. And if you observe this diagram, you can get a problem of counting. I want to listen from you in the next classes. So happy listening, happy learning.